to my channel. I'm Mrs. D, and today we are making biscuits 3 ways. That's right, biscuits 3 ways. We're going to use the same dough, and we're going to incorporate a different ingredients in order to have biscuits 3 different ways. We're going to do a regular biscuit, we're going to do a bacon cheddar biscuit, and we're going to do a cinnamon biscuit. So if you're interested in learning how to make great biscuits, continue watching, and here we go. So these are the ingredients that you're going to need. You're going to need, and when I tell you about the ingredients, let me say this. I'm going to talk about the ingredients. I'm going to say grams. I'm not going to say, I may say cups or teaspoons, but this scale right here, my twins taught me how to bake using a scale instead of measuring cups. And I'm so glad that they did, because baking now for me is so much easier. So what you're going to need 240 grams or 2 cups of flour. You're going to need a tablespoon of sugar, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a cup of unsalted quality butter. And you're going to need 630 ounces or 3/4 cup of cold milk. You're going to want to make sure that the ingredients that you're using are quality ingredients. You want to use unbleached flour. I'm sure you've heard, you can click on any video talking about flour and how it's made, and unbleached flour is better. And you're going to use quality butter, a good quality butter with good fat. And as far as your salt, you can use any type of salt that you use. So let's get started. Okay, to my flour, I've already added my sugar, baking powder, and my salt. So I'm just going to add that to my bowl, my mixing bowl, making sure I've gotten it all out. And then I'm going to add my butter. Now, I shred my butter with a cheese grater. See that? You see how that's all grated? And I'll leave it in the freezer until I'm ready to mix my butter with my flour. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in. And I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to incorporate the butter with the flour until it comes to a crumble consistency. So you're just going to mix that in, mix it in. And you don't want to agitate it too much because you don't want to change the temperature of your butter. So I'm going to mix that in. And I've already taken my cold milk out of the refrigerator. I'm going to make a little well. You see that? I'm going to make a little well in my flour, and I'm going to add my milk. And I'm doubling this recipe, so that's why you see me adding 2 containers of milk, because I'm doubling my recipe. Because what I like to do, I like to freeze my biscuits. After I've made biscuits, because it's just my husband and I here at home, I like to freeze the biscuits so that whenever I want them, I just take them out of the freezer. So you see how you just take your hand like a claw and incorporate all of that milk into your dough. And you just keep working it until it's all blended. Keep going. Keep going. And you're going to form it into a soft ball. Keep working all that flour. And remember, you don't want to do this too much, because you don't want to, like I said, you want your butter to stay as cold as possible. All right, you see that? Keep working it, keep working it. And then we're going to take this flour and we're going to roll it. Now, you see I have a pad, this little rubber pad down on my countertop, because I don't like mixing ingredients on top of my countertop. So I ordered this off of Amazon. I'll try to find where I got it from on Amazon and link it below. But it's just a little baking slat, a little silicone mat. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add, well, first I'm going to get all this dough off my hand. I'm going to add just a little flour to my baking mat here on my counter. And we're going to roll these biscuits out. Just need just a little. And you see, I tried to keep one of my hands free and clean so that we can pat that down so that we can roll our biscuits. This is going by so fast, guys. This is so easy. And the great part about doing biscuits, I would tell you, make sure that you try and get all your ingredients together before you start baking so that you're not running around the kitchen trying to figure out, oh, did I forget this? Did I forget that? Okay, so now we're gonna roll these biscuits out onto our floured surface. Okay, so now we're gonna roll out our dough. And you can use a rolling pin if you like. I like just using my hand, and I'm gonna add a little flour to my hand so that the dough does not stick to my hand. Look at all those lovely butter chunks in there. Oh, I just love it. I love it. I love it. In order to get flaky biscuits, what you're gonna do, you're gonna press this dough out, and then you're gonna fold it. And you're gonna fold it. You're gonna press it again. And then you're gonna fold it again. And press it again. That's how you get those flaky biscuits. Press, press, press. Until it's as thick as you want it. I'm not gonna give you a measurement because you may like your biscuits thin. I may like my biscuits thick. But I will tell you, the more you fold it over, the flakier your biscuits will be. But we don't want to keep agitating our dough too much because we want that butter to stay cold. Now, once we cut these biscuits out and place them on our baking sheet, here I have my baking sheet lined with a little silicone mat. I'm going to place these biscuits in the freezer before I bake them. That's right. I read that in a book. I can't tell you that I came up with that all by myself. I read that in a book. So let's continue to press these biscuits out. So now that we have our dough to the thickness that we like, we're going to divide it into 3 sections. 3 even sections. Because remember, we're making 3 different types of biscuits. Okay? All right. So our first one is just our regular buttermilk biscuits. And this is a little biscuit cutter. I think I got this from Target. And you're gonna press down, place it on your baking dish. I'm trying to get at least 3 biscuits out of each little section. There we go. Now, for the second one, this is gonna be our cinnamon biscuit. Now I'm gonna pat this one out just a little more because you'll see what I'm gonna do. I want the cinnamon flavor incorporated all into the biscuit, sort of like a cinnamon roll. So I'm just gonna add, and all this is cinnamon, cinnamon, brown sugar, and a little regular sugar. To the consistency that you like. There's no special recipe for it. And I'm just gonna massage that in just a little bit and fold it over. And then I am going to pat this one out again. See that? To the consistency that you like. There are no rules when it comes to making biscuits, guys. All right. And then you want to get at least 3 out of this. And see, it may come apart a little bit. Just pinch it. Just pinch it. Just pinch it a little bit. Add that to your baking sheet. Okay, that's 2. And 1 more. Just pinch it so that you can keep all that cinnamon goodness on the inside. Now, for our third biscuit, we're going to do this one just a little different. Okay? Now, for the final one, I'm going to be honest. I should have incorporated these ingredients when I was during the kneading process. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We all make mistakes. So what you're going to do is just add you some bacon. Some nice crispy bacon, as much as you like. It's up to you. Some green onion. I love green onion. And these green onion came from our local farmer's market. As a matter of fact, so did the bacon. And then you're going to add your cheddar cheese. Look at all that cheddar cheese goodness. Okay? And that's okay. We're going to incorporate that back in our dough. We're going to just knead that together, and then we will take it and flatten it out again and cut. Oh, look at, oh, this smells so good. This smells so good. I love green onion. And just going to incorporate all that in there. You see that? It's all incorporated. Set that bowl to the side. This was my mom's bowl. She's no longer with us. All right, set that aside. Although I don't have my grandmother's recipe and I don't have a lot of my mom's recipes, I have a lot of their baking utensils and kitchen utensils that they used. So I still have things to remember my mom and my grandmother by. So like I said before, if you still have your loved ones, please get their recipes so you won't be like me, having to create your own. And then you get your biscuit cutter. And we want to get at least 3. All right, and one more. Now I am going to use now you know I'm not going to throw this dough away. We're going to use this. We're going to use this dough. We're not just going to toss it to the side. We're going to use everything. But I wanted to at least get 3 biscuits out of the batch. Okay, then we've got a little bit more to make one more. Doesn't have to be a perfect biscuit. There we go. All right, and then we still have some more cinnamon dough left over. I will cut those, but for the sake of time, we're just gonna leave that there and use it later. Okay, and there you have it, our biscuits. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna place this pan of biscuits in the freezer, probably for about 15-20 minutes because we want them to be cold before we bake them, okay? Okay, remember I was telling you guys that you can freeze biscuits? Sometimes I freeze my biscuits that I've baked, but sometimes I freeze biscuit dough. So what I'm going to do with the little cinnamon dough that I have left over, I am going to prepare this to freeze. So I've got my cinnamon sugar in there. I'm going to add a little more, so this will be more like a swirl biscuit. Add just a little more because I like a lot of cinnamon sugar. I do. We're just going to incorporate that in there a little bit more. I'm going to pat that out. And I am going to cut these biscuits and I am going to put them in the freezer in a Ziploc bag. So I'm going to use my smaller cutter for this one. Twist, twist, twist. And I'm going to tell you this, truth moment. That's why it's so important that you put a little flour on your cutter, because as you can see, my biscuits are now sticking to my pad and the dough is sticking to my biscuit cutter. So let's get a little bit more flour. All right, let's lay a little bit down. Take our biscuit cutter, saturate it with a little flour and watch the difference. Well, I can see the difference. You may not be able to see it from there, but there's a difference. There's a difference. There's a difference. All right. See, we got ourselves some little miniature cinnamon biscuits, because sometimes you need to cut back a little and you just need a little taste. You don't need a lot. See that? Doesn't that look good? And I'm going to freeze these. I'm going to put the pan in the freezer first so that the biscuits can set up. And then after they have hardened, I'm going to take the biscuits and put them in a Ziploc bag. So our biscuits have been in the freezer for about 20 minutes. See that? They're firm, nice and firm. And we're going to bake these at 450 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. While these are baking, these have also been in the freezer. I'm going to go ahead and place these in a Ziploc bag and I'll bake these. You can keep these in the freezer probably for about 6 months, but these won't last around here for 6 months, trust me. So I'm going to put these in the freezer in the Ziploc bag, and we're going to go ahead and place these in the oven for, like I said, for 10 to 12 minutes on a preheated 450 degree oven. Guys, look at this. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at all that cinnamon goodness coming out of the cinnamon biscuit. Oh my gosh. And look at the green onion. And then look at my favorite. Look at my favorite, the buttermilk biscuit. Oh, too bad we don't have smell-o-vision. These smell so good. So good, so good. Look at that. Look at the height. You see that? Look at all those layers. Look at all those wonderful layers. Oh, look at that, guys. Look at that biscuit. Now, I'm really about to go back to my childhood now. Because when I was a little girl, like I said, my grandmother would make biscuits every Sunday when we came home from church. Couldn't have biscuits without cane syrup. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh my goodness. Steen's cane syrup from Louisiana, as a matter of fact. Okay, let's try these. That's hot. But my hands are tempered. I've been touching hot stuff for years now. Let's see. Reminds me of my grandmother. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was my very first YouTube video. It took a lot of courage to do it, but I want to thank you for taking time out of your day for watching my very first video, Biscuits 3 Different Ways. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And most of all, don't forget to get recipes, write down recipes from your family so that you'll be able to carry them on from generation to generation. Be blessed. Bye.